order and welcome everybody, both here and anybody that might be watching us on YouTube. Is that where we are?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I guess we are. But if I forget to say it before at the end of the meeting, let me say to everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a good day and a good rest of the week. Couple of things that just came to mind for me, but something else I want to acknowledge before we have our prayers. And that's the passing of Cecil Carter. Cecil, they had his service this afternoon and burial. Cecil was a councilman here back, I think, first elected in 2002. I had to have April go back and look that up for me today. But Cecil was also, he's a good public servant, cared about what he was doing. But he was also a part of a little bit of Watertown history. He ran for re-election in 2006, and that was an off year, so we had 3 councilmen running. And he and the late Gary Eakes tied for the 3rd spot. They got the same amount of votes. And rather than go to a runoff, they agreed to flip a coin between them. And the one that lost backed out. And Cecil lost that, I think. Gary won, I believe. Do you recall who flipped the coin? I didn't, did I? I was smarter than that one. I was trying to think. They may have done it themselves. But anyway, that was, I don't know that that's ever happened here before. But it was sad to hear of his passing and acknowledge that for his family. The other thing is, I think I did this to y'all last year too, but does everybody know what tomorrow is? Don't tell me the day before Thanksgiving. It's the 60th anniversary of the assassination of John Kennedy in Dallas. Doesn't seem like it's been 60 years, but it has been. I was in Ms. Goodner's class at Watertown Elementary.
I won't tell you how old I was.
Well, I got a feeling I know how old most of you were, except for Hal. He's a little older than I am.
Yeah, at work, I can remember very well.
You'd what?
I said, me, you, and Hal probably the only ones that were born.
Yeah, that's true. But that's they've been having a lot of stuff on the History Channel about it. It's been pretty interesting. Anyway, if you'll bow with me, we'll have a word of prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day and for the opportunity to come together again. Lord, we're thankful for the season. We hope that everyone, that we'll all be thankful every day for all the things that we have, but especially on this time of year and during this season. And as we approach the Christmas season, we pray that you'll be with these council people and their families during this time. We pray that you'll be with all of our folks that are employed in both the city or county government. Be with them and their family and watch over them. We pray that you'll bless us tonight and go with us to forgive us of our many sins. Amen. All right, got a set of minutes from the last meeting, October 17. They look okay to you?
Make a motion to approve.
Discussion? Not all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Director of Schools Jeff Luttrell's a guest here tonight, and he's asked for a few minutes to talk to us, and I told him we'd get him up early so he doesn't get many nights off, and I'm sure he'd like to go home and eat supper.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Council. I won't take much time. I'm here to inform you of something that's going to take place here for this community. As you know, our county is growing, and leaps and bounds. Our school system, we're over 20,000, I think 20,650 students right now. Continuous growth for the last several years, and it's put brought to the forefront a lot of issues with building, but at the same time, there's a lot of issues with maintenance. And so we've, several years ago, a 10-year plan came to be, and we've worked off of that. We've made some modifications as growth has dictated. And currently, when I became director of schools, we began to look at Watertown Middle School. And if you know, there's a lot of issues there maintenance-wise. We've got a roof that is in desperate need, may get fixed regardless of what happens, just because it's in that dire strait. But I'm big on transparency. As a part of our 5-year plan, we've bumped that up. We've bumped this school up to I'll tell you just where it ranks in order of what we've got to do. We're just broke ground on a new elementary school off 109. We've got property. We'll be looking to put another elementary school in the Glayville community here first quarter of next year. And there's a project at Lakeview. If you're familiar with Lakeview, it's one of our oldest schools in the district that really needs some work, cafeteria. It's a school, believe it or not. We've got all these great buildings, and it's a great school with great faculty and staff, but they have to get to one hallway, you have to cross the stage or gym. There's no, I don't remember when that happened, Mike, and that design, but a really strange design. And looking at some safety things, that project is really been bumped up too. And so there's a lot going on. So we've looked at this Watertown middle school, the old high school. I recognize wholeheartedly the history of Watertown schools. You know, when I was here as a principal, we opened up the new building. One of the greatest things that happened was to learn. A lot of people don't know at one time, Mike, correct me if I speak wrong, that this was its own school district. Early 1900s, one of the first public high schools where they brought all the community schools happened right there, and it would have been on that site. And the city bonded for the money, and the residents all purchased bonds to build their first high school. So there's been a lot of transpired throughout that, and then they joined the county, I think, in the mid-'80s, if I'm correct, and when they built the new gyms when they came into the county system. So there's a lot of history there, but it's a unique building. I'm a history guy, and you're not going to see many schools that are still fallout shelters, and that one is. It's got a great design to it. But over time takes its toll on all of us. So there's some issues. So what's going to happen, there's going to be a survey come out. I've been to the Chamber of Commerce a few weeks ago. I've talked to the middle school staff here in recent weeks. Next week sometime, we'll be looking from Bart Barker. We're putting together, we've got a survey that we're wanting input. There's 3 options that are going to be in that input. One of the options is build a new middle school. And I've been asked a question. My intention wholeheartedly would be to touch Watertown city limits, if at all possible. That would just make sense. And that would be an option that will be on the table. Another choice in that option, our architects have already done some preliminary work. You could tear down that existing building, and that lot size would put another school on it. We're talking about a 600 student middle school. That's going to be an option. The other option would be a renovation/rebuild. We have a design that would fit, that would keep some of the building and replace a lot of the building. 2 of those options, you're going to have to figure out a plan, and we've done some preliminary on it of where you disperse those students for approximately 18 months to possibly 30 months, 36 months, depending on what you do. I want to say, and just want to inform you, and I'll take some questions in a minute, we're going to get that out, be looking through Bart, our PR guy. We've got a plan. We're still working on a couple of technology issues to make sure that we get it to all the residents in the Watertown area. Whether it be a QR code or whatever they're going to use. But that's going to go out. We'll get a lot of that information out through our schools. It is for input only. I want to stress that. Number one, I don't have the funding. That will be the next issue I will have to deal with, is how to fund any of those projects. I do not have the funding now. But in talking to Mayor Hutto and the County Commission, they've always done what they need to do and step up. And so it's just for input. It will come down to location, land availability, /funding, and then what's best for this community. And that's why we're wanting to hear from the community on what they would like to see. I will say, of all the plans, regardless, part of the plans will be the same facilities we're putting in the rest of the county for our students, meaning ball fields, athletic fields, and CTE course rooms, those kind of things. It'll be a mini version of our bigger middle schools, but that's what it will be. So I just want to come let you know tonight and give a chance if you've got questions. You know, there's pros and cons to all of it. I really don't have an agenda. I just want our kids to have the same opportunities everybody else does in this community. And that's part of my job and part of my responsibility. And I want to try to be transparent, get as much information. You know, one of the things I hear the most, I'm sure you hear, is the traffic in the mornings. One plan would eliminate that. But I will say this, and I've said this publicly and I will stand behind it. You move as many students as we're moving, you're going to have school traffic wherever you're at. And I can assure you, I told this City Chamber of Commerce 3 times first 9 weeks, I started my day out in the traffic to see what it was like. And hit all 3 schools, did not go into the school drop-off line, but hit all 3 schools, came all the way down Main. And all 3 times, from the time I pulled out on the 70, it was less than 30 minutes, I was on the other. I know that is inconvenience for a lot of people if you're, and there's some issues with emergency. I get all that. But I can take you to plenty of schools in our county where you're looking at an hour or more just in the school traffic. So, but that may be a consideration. So I just wanted to make you know that's coming out, encourage you to talk about it, encourage people to give us their input because that will matter in what we do in formulating a plan. And everybody's saying when. I can't tell you when. I've got works. First of the year, first quarter is of course trying to get funding for the Glaive Elementary. I'm working on a plan for the Lake View, and then this one, in my plan, would be next to present. All I can do is present to my board, and then if they approve, we have to go to County Commission for funding. But any questions? Any input?
Could the school be built for the parking lots that now in front of using the parking lots and then turn around and demolish the school there and then use that for parking in the back?
Don't think there's enough room to do that. One of the plans, if you tore down, you would use that front parking lot. And under the other plan, part of that will be used if it's a reno. But to totally build a school with that school on campus, there's not enough room.
What about the old gym? Would that all be demolished?
Well, we're not there yet. That old gym, I think I'm from Kentucky.
There's a lot of members in there.
Gyms are important where I come from, and that's a jewel of a architectural. Got some paperwork sent to me that we'll be looking at possibly. Could we get some help on that, regardless of what we're doing, of that being a historic site? And there would be some funding, possibly. I hate to tear that old gym down.
Yes.
I mean, I don't get to say so in a lot, but I think whatever plan, we need to include that old gym.
That's a WPA project.
It is. Yep. And I think that should be preserved because it's not falling down. I mean, and again, I think it's just, there's some things we've talked about. What could you use it for besides just a gym? Cost, but I think it's worth preserving our history when possible.
Great.
I feel that I live on Main Street and I drop kids off at the middle and I still drop a child off at the elementary. And I feel like they've already made an improvement in traffic on Main Street as far as in front of the middle school. Just pulling them up in the morning has made a drastic improvement.
It is. It has gotten better. They've made an adjustment or two there.
Yeah.
And we have to do that all the time. I mean, we're continuously doing that throughout the county just as flow of traffic changes. Believe it or not, time change sometimes dictates that because people's schedule changes. So they have, and wherever you put it, you're going to have school traffic. I mean, that's part of it.
I was thinking about if you built it on where the parking lot's at now, you put the traffic and the parking behind it, that would get all the traffic off the main streets and going around it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that would, but if you don't have enough room.
There's not enough. And another thing that is crucial in this is these building codes, I think, are expected to change. The new building codes coming into place this year. I would love to get some funding in place because that's going to drive the cost up. And cost is going to be a big part of it. Right now, this market, we're watching it every month. it has turned down. Last school that was bid, it dropped about $40 on average square foot from the most previous ones, so we'll just have to watch that. But funding's an issue, and this could be 2 or 3 years away, but we've got to get the right plan in place, and I want to plan this community to get behind, support, and continue to be proud of our schools.
Now, you had mentioned that you would like to stay within city limits, but we all know where the land is not necessarily in city limits. Through the community, there has been discussion with knowing that we're getting a new school, possibly going back behind the high school and using the facilities there. Is that
a possibility? Could possibly, has there been any talks of that? All I've heard is rumor and everybody's thoughts. Here's what I will tell you in doing that. You are stretching and stressing your facilities.
Absolutely.
There's got to be a lot of consideration. You're still going to have to build practice fields. You would be looking at needing to turf some fields. And then, years ago here, we shared everything.
We've grown.
With our numbers and size, I don't know if that's possible now, like everybody thinks. I've really not went that far into looking at it. My plan is, whatever plan we put into place, is that our kids have the same facilities as everyone else. Because when you start sharing, somebody's going to be late, or then, I just think we can fund, and I will fight for funding to provide the same adequate facilities. Could there be a combination with the city? That might be possible too. I wouldn't throw that out there if I didn't think that would work. But right up here, you're soon to be. They're going to fill that up the next 5 years, probably, and that just stretch. You just can't keep sharing with more and more students.
Are we still open enrollment at the high school?
We are right now. Be interested to see the numbers this year. We usually, I think it's 85% is cut off. And I will tell you, on all buildings we build, that number looks good on paper. The reality, that one's built, there's 900 lockers there.
Yeah.
If you put 900 students in that school, you're going to be overcrowded. Just unbelievable.
Was that school, is it built to where it could be added on to?
There's 2 wings there that, you could probably put 6 to 8 classrooms that would help some growth. But we're not there yet, but yes, we're trying to design all of our buildings now where you can add without having a total rebuild.
Just to clarify, you said if we move to a new location, that a priority is going to be to touch Watertown?
I'd want to touch it, if at all possible.
Okay. So if you're touching, that means we could annex the property.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that would be that would keep it in the city even if you have to move it out.
I'm a big proponent of community schools and really want to get this project done to ensure that we keep a middle school here too.
We did.
One problem I'm trying to go behind the high school is what used to be vacant farmland is now several large homes.
Yeah, there was a tract there that was probably available, but I think that tract sold, yeah.
The important thing for us tonight, if people hear about us talking about this, is that no decision has been made on anything other than it's on the drawing board to do something in the very near future.
And I'm gathering as much information as possible. And it's not a vote, I will stress. A lot of times you give a survey to people and they come back and say, well, I voted. This is not a vote. I've got to look at multiple facets. And the big part of it's getting funding.
Absolutely.
But I want to know what people want. I'm willing to listen to our constituents. I try to do that as much as possible and to see really what this community wants. So look forward to Bart. He won't be calling about snow. I hope not next week. But if you get a phone call or you get an email or you see it, please participate. That's what I'm really trying to get out there, to get people to participate so that we can get as much information as possible. Anything else? Thank y'all very much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Anybody else from the public want to comment? All right. Got anybody on the line? All right, we'll move in then to, that was a very informative discussion there. Look forward to that occurring. I don't have anybody in school right now, or well, nobody in the middle school, but it won't be long. Okay, Dale, I think you're first up tonight, buddy.
We did have an inspection, state inspection at our facility a few weeks ago, and I attached a report for it. They're wanting a few changes in our permit that we issued to our industrial user. But other than that, everything was fine, and I talked Friday with the contractors about the pumps, and they're working on getting a crew together. As soon as they get a crew free, they're going to work on our pump station, which will be a good thing. The pumps are in and stuff, so hopefully that'll be put in pretty soon. But that's what I got for you.
Dale, are you gonna be able to respond to them by December 1?
Yeah, I'll get a letter together with this. I've been working with technical plating on you know,
Okay.
what we can do with that, but I'll get a letter,
Okay,
get it with you here pretty soon.
all right. Appreciate it. Any questions of Dale?
I have a water question. My husband wanted me to ask this. He has noticed lately men driving up with trucks and big tanks on the back of flatbeds, filling up with water from the hydrants. And he was just wondering what was going on there.
Yeah, that may be more you or April may know. I don't know it.
That is people that live outside the city limits that contract with us and pay a water bill to you. Now, can we absolutely say that somebody's not taking advantage of us? We can't.
Right.
But there are a couple of people that when we go into dry times like we had until last night, their
Right.
wells drop, and then some don't even have a functioning well.
Okay.
So they
can
pay a
just-
water bill every month, don't they, April?
Yes, they pay outside city rates.
Yeah.
Okay.
What raises some questions sometimes is they fill them up at strange times. And people think
Maybe
they're
that's
slipping in.
what it
and-
was.
No, it's a legitimate question.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
But
And
Thank you for
something,
answering that.
something I learned too, because I got the water confused. He's dirty water. City's clean water.
Got it. Okay.
His
So-
dad did
Got it.
this for us for years, and we
Right? No,
asked him a question. His dad's response was always, "I'm a dirty water guy."
Yeah.
So,
Got it.
Yeah, we actually did for Wilson County Board of Education, West School, Carroll Oakland, Gladeville, and Lakeview all had sewer plants, which they're all on city
They
sewers
did.
now, but they all had their own sewer plants we ran for a very long period of time.
They
also.
they got away from those, didn't they?
Yeah, they're all on.
But they
they're
did
all
have
on,
their own sewer
yeah.
facility, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dave. Let's see, next will be Chief Holland with a fire report.
Good evening. Everyone should have got a report this month. We responded to 17 calls in the city, 16 in the county, for a total of 33 this past month. We did participate in the Coffee with the Cop with the police department, and had a good time, and thanks for the invitation for that. And I'd like to see more of that happening. It's a good thing for the community. A couple years ago, we had done a similar event at the adopted farmhouse, and Joseph Decker had arranged that, and he contacted me a few weeks ago, and so he's got one set up for December 11th. The time is 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on that. Just a time for the community to be able to meet and talk with the fire department and kind of get some ideas, and for us to be able to serve them.
At adopted farmhouse?
Yes,
7 to
ma'am.
11,
7 to 10.
10 on the 11th.
Yes. I had the time wrong. I got corrected on that, so.
Questions of Chief Holland?
Just kind of, first time in a while, I've noticed city calls rates are higher than county calls,
Yes,
which is good for us.
absolutely, absolutely.
But we're available to help, always have been. Your
Yes, sir.
department's done a wonderful job with that.
Yes, sir.
All right, other questions? Can you hang around a minute?
Yes. Yes.
And we'll bring something up, okay?
Okay,
Think you'll like it.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have we got an update on the remodeling, what we need to do over here for, the Wingman Church?
No, we haven't. No, we
Okay,
haven't on
okay.
that. Hadn't had any more discussion on it. They're all pretty excited about their new ladder trucks, so
Yeah.
they're not talking about much else right now.
We did get it painted, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and I've signed the check this afternoon. Yeah, it looks good.
Okay.
I saw them in the
Yeah,
process.
you talking
I thought
about-
it looked real good.
I think Steve's talking about some
Yeah, he is.
renovation over
Yeah, I'm talking about the inside with the
Yeah.
Weemer stuff. I just, that's a.
All right. Assistant Chief Enderlight.
So we did have our first coffee with the cop. We had a great support from every law enforcement agency, sent at least 2 to 3. We had several folks. Was a little bit set back with the businesses that didn't come. But Becky from the flower shop came and gave everybody a rose. It's very nice. The new hardware store folks came. The Watertown Express came, and of course we were there at the depot with Mr. James and Debbie's place. And want to give a good thanks also to Three Forks Market, who supplied the donuts and the things that they have us to eat, and then Depot sponsored the coffee. So, you know, and it was very nice. It'll be bigger next time, and my next venture, hopefully, I've reached out. I had everybody that works for us go out and put cards out for the churches, all the pastors to call me. And then, you know, maybe we can go to each church once a month and just have some prayer time with police, community, whoever that might be. So that's, you know, we'll still do coffee with the cop as well, but want to implement that community stuff about each church and include everybody as well.
Ted?
I got a lot, but what do you all have? Like, anything on the stats? Like, I don't have
Oh,
anything
okay. You
other
have
than
any
that.
questions? Anybody?
Sorry. No.
All right. Well, I got something I want to bring up. I think you'll like it too.
I hope.
I believe you will. When we did raises earlier this year, I told you that I stretched everywhere I could to try to find money to give our people more money. They pay, you know, the cost of living is the same for them as it is for everybody. Our budget is not, and I've got several budget items that I want to discuss with you, but I want to get this one out of the way while both chiefs are here. And I wanted to, I'm getting ahead of myself. Through the first 4.5 months, money has not quite come in like I thought it might, but we're not into the really heavy part of the year when the money comes in. I've always given, I hadn't always, but the last 15, 18 years, I guess, April, we've given a Christmas bonus. It's been pretty, it's been okay. It hadn't been great. We gave $300 to full-time, $200 to part-time, and we gave $200 to our volunteer firemen, who in fact work all year for nothing, and felt like we needed to do that. So I want to suggest tonight, and I hope you will go along with me, that we give a bonus, a Christmas bonus. They'll be payable tomorrow, because we always pay it on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so people can hit Black Friday and blow their money. So I'm going to suggest that we do, for the volunteer firemen, $500. Blake sent me Chief Hahn sent me a list of 11 people. He left himself off there, so I've added 12 on there at $500 each for our two, and I haven't differentiated between full-time and part-time, except in a little different situation. I'll explain it to you. For the ladies that work in our office, I'm suggesting $1,000 each as a Christmas bonus. For our police department, I'm suggesting, recommending $1,000 each for our officers who have been here more than 90 days. Now, we got 2 officers, one of them's 2 days away from being here 90 days, and one of them's 6 days away. And I guess my old heart's getting weak, but I've moved them up, counting that they'll be here 90 days. So I'm recommending $1,000 there, and then we have one officer who's just been with us 45 or 60 days. I'm recommending $500 on that. And then for the, and that's out of the general fund. And then for the water and sewer, we have 3 full-time workers that have been here more than 90 days. So I'm recommending $1,000 apiece for them. We have one who has not quite been here yet. He's been here about 45 days, so I'm recommending $500 for him. And then we have 2 students who I affectionately call our kids, but they work part-time for us, and I'm recommending $250 each for them because they do work. And so I'm asking tonight to do that, to show appreciation for our people. I feel like that our money will come in. I hope you'll see fit to go along with that. If you do, I've got a budget amendment here that we can approve on first reading, but I'll give you the total cost of what all this is. The total cost coming out of the general fund will be $13,921. The total cost coming out of water and sewer will be $3,742.20. So I'll pass this out to each one of you, and but I'm going to recommend that. I know I'm kind of stuttering and stammering. I'm trying to think of a lot more nice things to say because I do appreciate our employees and wish it could be more. And I have been watching our budget closely, hoping that we could do something like this. I feel comfortable doing this. I think we can cover this. If we can do more later in the year, I'll certainly recommend that to you. But that'd be my recommendation to you, that we adopt this as our Christmas bonus and approve this ordinance tonight on first reading.
I think this is a good deal. I'll make that motion.
Discussion on that, I know I'll get you cold with it, but I get a budget report every week and been thinking about this for a week or two, but what I was afraid I was get the most recent, put this out there and then get the budget report that came back with not as good as I'd hoped, and then I have to back off of it. So I wanted to make sure that I could feel comfortable recommending it, and I do. So got a motion and a second to approve this. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
April, that's the reason I wouldn't let you write checks this afternoon for bonuses. But you'll have to do them in the morning. And I didn't think you'd have a problem with that. And I'll get up here sometime to sign them tomorrow. But they won't get them at 8 o'clock in the morning. But they'll get them before they leave tomorrow. And Chief, you make sure your folks get them.
Yes, sir.
Like you handle yours however you want to do it. But all of our folks are appreciated very much. And glad that y'all went along with this. I didn't think that'd be a problem, but I wanted to explain it fully, why we were doing it. And now,
Thank you for that.
what else you got?
The
I was
building.
about to pop. I wanted to get that done.
Yeah, I'm glad. Makes me feel good. The building was painted. It looks amazing. The one thing that I did do, the older building there that's falling down, they painted it. I asked them to give me a price, and Lee just painted it, but long story short, it made it look amazing. You know, that yellow, and you know, now it looks a lot better, but the whole building's been painted. They did a great job. So I just wanted to tell everybody that, you know, it's all one color. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Let me say one other thing I should have told you as a part of that. Some of this funding for these raises was already in the budget because I'd already budgeted 300 and 200. So the difference that you approved there is the difference over and above that. So just want that, as Jeff says, transparency. I believe in that too. I want you to know what's going on. and I want people out there to know what's going on in their government. Thank you.
Are we staffed now?
So, the answer to that is yes. There's a lot of things that go around on Facebook and social media, and I just implemented a amazingly strict social media thing, but it's not our place to answer back to people on the internet. It's our place to protect them no matter what. So, that being said, I have hired another one. We are full staff. All of our full-time people are post-certified. That's been an issue with some things, and without going in and quoting all their rules and stuff, the bottom line is if you're not full-time, you cannot be a certified police officer in the state of Tennessee. It doesn't matter if they work for the sheriff's department. It doesn't matter who they work for. If you're a reserve or part-time, you cannot be certified. You can be certifiable. It's up to 1 to 3 years, and then over that, and then it goes up to 5 and then 7, and then you have to go back to the whole academy. But if you are not full-time, you cannot be certified. So when you hear people say, they got uncertified officers, well, we have one officer that was uncertified when he worked for the county for 14 years as an uncertified officer. So, it's not a dive on the county. It's just you can't be certified and be part-time anywhere. You have to be full-time. So, and I hope that we have, we're going to hire one that we get to send to the academy, and that is part of that retention recruitment grant that we were awarded from the state, which will be, the academy itself will be free, and then the city will be reimbursed a fee that is in the contract that, if you want to know what that is, you can request a copy of it.
The coffee with a cop, I thought went great. I too was a little disappointed it wasn't better attended,
Right.
but that's something you can grow.
Absolutely.
But we had police officers from every department in the county, I believe.
That's correct.
And one from Alexandria.
And the mayor from
And the mayor
Alexandria
from
came as
Alexandria.
well.
And
Yes.
so we had a good group of people here, and if you had any criminal warrants on you and you walked by that restaurant, it made you mighty nervous.
We might have hurt Depot's business that day.
Yeah, there'd been about 15 or 18 cops in there waiting to pounce on you. So. All right, appreciate it, Chief.
Yep.
I'll report on what else we talked about here in a few minutes that we talked about this afternoon. Let me do a few items of old business. This is not really an item of old business, but I wanted to make this known publicly too. Mary Scruggs, who is our animal control director in the county and also does that for Watertown by interlocal agreement, is retiring effective January 21 of next year. Mary is the wife of County Commissioner Terry Scruggs, but Mary has done a wonderful job for the county for animal control. Not everybody wants to do that job. It's kind of like being landfill director or perhaps a police officer or whatever. Not everybody wants to do those jobs, and she's done a wonderful job, and I want to acknowledge her publicly. And I told her jokingly when she announced it to the committee that I made a motion not to approve it. I'm not even on the committee, and everybody kind of looked at me, and I thought, well, I just don't think she ought to go. But she's earned it, so she's done a good job. We now have a door ring camera. Is that the right? And so I've seen it in operation. It works. If you walk up out front, April can see you. And I will tell you that there's been a time or two when people came to the door that she could not get to them because of all these grant applications and stuff we're doing. She's having to do a lot of training, and she's having to do it online. And when that happens, the way they check to make sure she's doing it is they slip a question in there every so often, and you got to be there to answer it. So we've had a couple of people come to the door, and I guess they thought, well, what's going on? But they, and then when they called her in that time, we have caller ID, and she calls them back. So just wanted to let you know on that. It seems to be working well. Am I right on that, April? Is it working? Okay. We talked last time about the brush pile over here in the back, if y'all know what I'm talking about. I've had a couple of complaints on that over the last few days. My biggest concern when we started this, we started as a community service. If you've got brush, you've got limbs or whatever, since we don't have a pickup service, you can bring them over here, put them on the burn pile, and every so often we burn it. My biggest concern was that people would use it as a trash dump. And some folks have, and from time to time we catch that, but we don't catch who's doing it. The most recent complaint I had was directed toward WEMA, but I think in error. I think what they thought was sacked up medical waste was in fact leaves, but they were in sacks, and the person that complained said you shouldn't be burning plastic. That's probably right. So last month we talked about Assistant Chief Hinderlight, myself, and Bob Morgan talking about that, and we met this afternoon. And correct me if I missed something here. What we agreed to do is to leave it open from 8 to 12 on Wednesday morning. We're going to open this from 8 to 12 on Saturday morning with the police department opening the gate and closing the gate. We are going to put a camera over there with the approval of Middle Tennessee Electric on their pole that will, it's a 4-part camera, goes north, south, east, and west, so that if somebody is dumping over there, we'll be able to review the tape and check that. I asked Chief if it was strong enough to focus in on the license plate, and he said it was. So hopefully we can cut some of that down. We don't want to do away with it, but we have got to make sure this doesn't become an illegal dump site. And all it takes is for somebody to make a complaint to TDEC, and they come up here and check it out. So we don't want that happening. So if you're okay with those parameters, I'm going to ask you to approve that tonight. 8 to 12 on Wednesday morning, 8 to 12 on Saturday morning under the police department direction. Installing the camera. And Bob Morgan also said if somebody calls anytime during the week, if one of our guys is on the job and says, we've got a load we need to take in there, he'll come open it up. The other thing is, I forgot to say, we're going to limit it to Watertown citizens. Chief and Bob both tell me, we got some people coming from 7, 8, 10 miles away bringing stuff up here. And that's not what it's for. We want to be a good neighbor, but there's plenty of, God invented sinkholes. There's plenty of sinkholes out there between here and wherever. And I probably shouldn't have said that publicly. But anyway, I'd ask for a motion that you approve those parameters on the burn pile.
Well, ask a question.
Sure.
The camera system, is it going to be tied in with your security? Where's the video going to be going off of that? Police department or?
It'll be going to me.
Okay.
Police department. It'll be stored on a different cloud server. It'll be on the same cloud server actually as our grant, because it's going to be the same system that we've got the grant for to put.
Yeah.
Everything will be on the same server. Every camera that we put in the city will be on the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Same vendor.
Okay. Got a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Okay. Your name came up today, by the way, because of the Saturday thing.
Thank you.
Yes.
But you know, I had my kids brought some over on Sunday.
You had what?
My kids brought some over on Sunday. I said, it'll be locked, and they're like, it's not locked, and I'm like, yes, it is locked. And
Okay.
they were able to dump Sunday.
Well, anyway, we made an accommodation for you because
Thank you. I appreciate
full-time
that.
employment.
Because I can't get there, I only get
I
to
know.
work on Saturday or Sunday.
That was discussed. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let me give you a quick update on our current projects. I didn't hear back from Steve Jones today on our sewer. I'm a little disappointed in that. Last time we met, he told me the state would be approving that in a couple of weeks, so I just checked my email to see if I'd gotten anything. I have not. And that would affect the water too. The street paving, did I send out what Mr. Ataya from Collier sent me the other day? Let me read it. He said Watertown's roads are all similar in condition. There are a few that have drainage issues, which we will recommend repairing those roads first. From there, we recommend repairing the roads that serve the majority of the community. We will develop a list of recommended roads to repair with a total cost between the dollar figures you provided. We plan to have this to you the first week of December. So that'll be good. We can't do any paving until spring anyway, and a lot of the sewer project will depend on that, but I'm looking forward to getting that. I mentioned to him that of the $1 million we have waiting on us, we've got some money we can commit to it, and that, depending on, as you heard Jeff Luttrell talk about costs, depending on what we might recommend that we borrow a little more to do more paving, but we won't be able to do them all. And finally, the one I need you to approve tonight is the water application we made the 15th. We got it in on the 15th. That's one of the things, people were coming to the door, and April was working on this stuff. We had to fill out a questionnaire and provide a lot of information. But the project is an application for $200,000 CG. We have to pay 5% or $5,000 to the grant writer and 5% for our matching grant. What we applied for was, the application is for a comprehensive water loss project to purchase 2 zone meters for flow and water loss monitoring at $25,000 each, which would be a total of $50,000. Replacement of 2 failing Venturi flow meters at water treatment plant, $25,000 each, for a total of $50,000. Replacement of failing pump valves and ancillary components, $10,000. Professional engineering services water loss study, $50,000. Professional services leak detection and repair, $40,000. And then grant administration, $10,000, which is what I've already mentioned to you. So we had to go ahead and get that in before we met, so I hope y'all will bless that application because it's in. So I'd ask for your approval on that. And we'll know something back in January, I'm told.
You need a motion?
I do. Don't leave me out there hanging.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right. I appreciate it. Discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, going along with that, J.C. York, one of our water operators, advised us, and I don't know if I sent this out or not. I just got it Monday. He sent April and I an email middle of the afternoon Monday, and said I would like permission to contact Henry Drilling to pull and replace well pump number 1. We have seen a steady drop off on pumping performance over the last 2 months. This pump is the main water source for, I'm on fingers here, main water source for Watertown, so it is very important. My recommendation is to replace it before it completely fails. I do not have a cost estimate for this work, but April may have access to the bills from the last work they did on well pump number 2. That pump is smaller, so this would cost a little more, but I don't imagine it would be too much more. April put together the bills. We paid $7,796 for the pump on the smaller well pump. And JC came back and said he thought he could do this one for $10,000. So we need to approve that. That's our main source of water. So I recommend that to you strongly.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion not to exceed 15,000.
Yeah, that'd be fine with me.
Just to give
Okay, yeah.
because I know that's a ballpark estimate that's in there,
Yeah,
so.
it is. Yeah, we don't want to get hung up over $500 or whatever. So, you made the motion? Caleb, second? All right, we got a motion and second. Discussion. I know I'm talking a lot and talking fast, but just wanted to get through all this. All right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, appreciate that. The only other budget matter I have is that the auditor was here Friday, worked all day Friday, and before he left, told April that of course he hadn't done the audit yet, he had to put it in final form, but our audit looks good, is what he said. So that's always what we want to hear. So and said he would have it in on time. It's due to the state by December 31st. So we'll have an exit conference, and he'll tell me what he recommends and that type of thing, but hopefully it'll be in. And April did a lot of work on that too. Jessica and Buddy were in the Friday before putting all the records together, and then Mr. Poole came in the next Friday, the auditor, and did this. So we have had, I said that was the only budget matter, but this is just a report to you. We have had an industrial park account for many years and had about $74,000 or something sitting there. The auditor and Jessica and Buddy as well, who do our bookkeeping, recommended that we close that and put it on a certificate of deposit, so we did, at the same terms that we've got the others on. So that account's been closed. We still got the money. It's on CD. I want to talk about our ball fields a little bit. There was some discussion about that on Facebook. I know Chief says we don't respond to that. But I've been thinking about this before, and then we got roughed up a little bit on Facebook, and so I thought, well, we'll get on with it. They'll think we're doing it in response to them. We're not. But my concern is we started these programs over here, and I'm talking now about baseball, softball, t-ball, girls fast pitch softball. We started these programs about, I said 30 years today, Chief, but it was Andrew's 30, it was 21 years ago. Andrew, my middle boy, was 9 when we started. And we run a good program over here, and we had reasonably good facilities. We've spent some money on them. We had a gentleman from Lebanon, John Ball, who brought a lot of his stone up and did the base for the big field down there. But we've developed some issues, some things we need to deal with. And one of those is we've got to buy some more dirt and get it hauled in here for our 2 fields. We're down to where it's very hard now. We don't need that. And that dirt's expensive. We can't just go over here and dig it up. We got to buy it from a specified source, and the haul bill will be substantial. We need to work on our lights a little bit. Jeff Tunks put in a new, what was he put in, April? What did he call it, Steve? New breaker box. You see how learned I am. And we think that'll help, but I'd really like to get those lights repaired and spotted up better. We need new scoreboards.
Question.
Yeah.
While we're looking at the lights, we might want to entertain looking at upgrading to LEDs. Takes fewer lights, you get more
Sure.
output from it and lower
Yeah.
expense.
Be all for that.
It's a little more expensive to purchase up front, but lower operation cost.
Yep. These next 2 things, and then I'll come around to what I'm really asking for. Game and spectator conduct. The last couple of years, people that come to these ball games sit so closely to the field. You know, you don't have this problem at the football field because they're back away from it. But they sit so closely, and they try, some people, not all, I'm painting with too broad a brush, try to intimidate these young people that we hire to umpire. They're not professionals. We've all seen the professionals the last few weeks. They don't do very good either. And then sometimes the coaches get to getting after each
A
other.
lot of them's the coaches,
Yeah.
that I saw.
So I want to address game and spectator conduct. And then the 5th thing, that found out from the radio this morning, I had a doctor on before I was on, and he was talking about all the different safety things that are now required. So he talked to him in between the radio show, and Tracy Pope with Vanderbilt Medical, this gentleman will come up and do the teaching and the training for us. So what I want to do, we got some more long-range plans. I know there's some people want some long-range plans. I'm all for that. But the next 3 to 4 months, we got to get this league back in shape so that we can tell people, you come over here, you can feel safe. You come over here, your kids can have a good time. And I'll say what I've said for 21 years. I've never had yet the first child come up and complain about what we do. It's always the parents or the coaches. So I want to put together, it's not a committee, I just want to put together a working group for the next 4 months to deal with what I'm calling short-term issues. I'm gonna ask Jeff Tunks to serve on it because Jeff's kind of overseeing our programs. Bob Morgan, of course, because he's the groundskeeper. I've asked Assistant Chief Hinderlight to serve on that, and we talked today. He will commit an officer to be on site during game nights, not just passing through, but on site, from the time we start to the time we finish. I think that's a good investment. I'm going to ask Steve Casey, council person. I'm going to serve on it, and then I'm going to ask either the middle school baseball or the softball coach for us to get together and address these issues. This dirt and stuff will have to be ordered pretty quick to get it, because once it gets wet in that pit, they can't haul it. So I want to put that together and see if we can get our sports programs back up to where they were, and that people can feel safe. I don't like to hear people, and y'all have probably heard it too, come up and say, well, I'm gonna take my child somewhere else. I don't like to listen to coaches chastise it. Chastise is a nice word. I'll say they cuss each other. And I'm not gonna put my child in that. So we need to take care of that. And I hope we can get some people back here to playing ball, because our numbers in some areas are falling, and T-ball they're up. But anyway, hopefully we'll report on this each month and let you know what's been done. Steve, you okay? Can you serve on that?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So, just wanted to let you know on that. The other thing I do need to get a vote on, the only other item of business I've got, the state legislature has decided, we've had an ethics policy for years. They have decided now we have to appoint an individual to enforce the ethical standards for the city. I don't want to do that, and I doubt any of the rest of you want to do that. So I've asked our city attorney, Tim Davis, if he would do it, and he agreed to do it. So I've got to report this to the state by January 1, so I would like a motion and a second to approve city attorney Tim Davis to be the,
I'll make a motion.
yeah, whatever we call him, ethical something.
I'll second.
Okay? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, that's all the items of business I've got. Do want to mention we got a big Christmas parade December 2nd, and got some other things going on that day, I think, on the square. Always a big day. Happens to be SEC championship.
So there's a big game that day too.
Yeah, big game that day. But that's occurring on December 2nd. I didn't write down the time. Yeah,
I do have one thing, we're not going to be able to do Meals on Wheels this year,
okay.
because of the financial responsibility from last year. But we are going to do, if you know a needy family, I have some folks, task a bunch of friends that are other officers, and they've been buying gifts all year long. I got a particular county officer or deputy that's going to bring me like 33 gifts. So if you know some family that's not going to have a Christmas or this, that, and the other, please let me know. Again, we're not big on the social media part, but text me, call me, just about everybody's got my number. We want to be able to help families. We want to do the city limits families first. And if we have enough, we might be able to do something in Outward. But we are going to do that, and we already have several gifts that some of us accumulated through over the whole year, of course of that. So,
Good.
Maybe do some Meals on Wheels next year, but we will focus on our Christmas thing to help some families. Thanks, sorry I mentioned that.
Our police department and fire department are doing a lot of good things in this community. And police department certainly are in positions where sometimes they get kicked around needlessly, in my opinion. Sometimes there's a little smoke, there's fire, and we deal with that and move on. But they're doing a good job, and I appreciate that. The only other thing I'll say is our next meeting would be December 19th. I'll mention that only because, like I did for this meeting, that's pretty close to Christmas. If you want to keep that date, I'm fine with it. If you want to move it back to the December 12th, I'm fine with that too, if that's getting too close to Christmas. So I'll leave that up to y'all. Unless you want to do something different, we'll stay with the 19th.
I can't be here the 12th.
Do what?
I can't be here the 12th.
Okay, we can stay with the 19th, no problem. Just wanted to give you all an opportunity. I know a lot of family things start happening about that time. Okay, time to go around the table. Miss April, you're first. Well, that's okay. Caleb? Kyle?
Scoreboards and stuff, fields.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna talk about putting any camera systems over there to look at the camera stuff, maybe we can get better idea.
We talked about that today.
Today, we spoke on that, and I gave him, a scenario, basically the same system, and then we could put one there, and we can build a system. They're really expensive if you buy them. They're like 12 grand, 10 to 12 grand. But they have a lease program that's like $340 a month for 3 years, and the warranty is 3 years. If you buy them outright, which we had to do with the state, the federal grant, then the warranty's 1 year. But if you lease it, and at the end of that lease, you have a chance to renew for 3 more, and they update the equipment for free, and then you keep on with the same, that monthly payment. So to me, it'd be better to lease it. We would own it, but it would still be like a lease, a payment, and we have that 3-year warranty. But I think that we could build one box and put out there, and it would capture both fields and parking lot and all that, because I've already captured all the backside after the last fiasco that we had. We called out 2 or 3 officers, and I rectified that from the police department. I keep capture all the way in the front out like what I need to.
I just assume that the cameras there would be good for insurance purposes on people.
Yes, they all have
causing
issues, state and federal regulations. All the camera system as a vendor is the approved vendor for a federal and state grant.
Right.
So, that's why I said if we stay with the same vendor, we already have those securities in place and all of the policies and procedures that go with that have been accepted by the federal and state levels.
Cool.
Well, I was going to say something else. I appreciate you bringing that up. I forgot it. While Jeff was here, I should have acknowledged this, but the school system the last 2 years has put $5,000 in their budget because we allow the middle schools to play ball over here. $5,000 doesn't go a long way, but it's appreciated. And so we'll have that this year too, spend on some of these things. They'll probably buy a little dirt, but like I say, it's appreciated. Well,
All I had was the scoreboards and lights, and we discussed that, so I'm good.
April, should I say what Lynn has talked to you about over at the bank?
I don't think so.
Wilson Bank, I've not talked to her, but Lynn Daughter has talked to April. They've got $8,500 they want to put into signs. And the signs we sell over here are not near that expensive. So what I would like to do, and she's off this week, I called for her yesterday. What I would like to do is see if they would commit that toward a scoreboard and let's put the sign on the scoreboard, that would be a good start on it. So, but anyway, there'll be more to come on that. So, Steve?
Similar subject, and it was the one thing I had. I know we had an insurance claim about the sign for the park, but what's the status on that insurance claim and getting the new sign at the road and et cetera?
I don't know the answer to that.
We have the claim, we have to check in, we just don't know what company we use, I guess.
Okay, so we've
Okay.
got the money in. Okay.
So I guess we can put that
Are you
out.
talking about the sign that was damaged from the storm?
Right. The one on the road that was damaged from the storm, we had the insurance claim, so we could actually, we're at the point we can bid that.
Yeah, we can do something with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't know the answer to that. I think you can tell maybe I stay kind of busy.
I just found it in my notes from a couple of meetings back and thought I'd ask because I hadn't heard anything.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. Anything else?
That's it.
Al?
Nope, nothing. What?
Well, I appreciate all of y'all. I really do. I don't just say that. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't care about your community, because you doggone sure ain't doing it for the pay. And so I appreciate you. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. If I can ever help you, let me know, and if you can help me, I'll sure let you know. So, have a good Thanksgiving. You ready to make that
I
motion?
make a motion.
You about to pop to make it, ain't you? There you go. I'm gonna let the ladies, you make the motion, you go second? We're out of here.